Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Sharmit. In this session, we are going to discuss about another very important topic of Angular directive, that is how to use ngModel directive for one-way data flow or one-way binding. Remember this thing, this is not the recommended approach. You might have seen this approach by some of the developers in project, but this is not recommended. And that is why I'm creating the session where we will try to understand how they are using the ngModel directive for one-way data binding, but this is not the right approach. So that's why I will also tell you the alternative way for creating the one-way data binding. Okay. So in short, we are going to talk about ngModel versus value in case of one-way data binding. Clear? Because we know that this is the wrong approach, but how they are following it, that we should know. And once we got the problem, then we can easily implement the solution as well. Okay. So I think now we are good to start with the session. But just before that, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow them sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic. Because for time being, we are just mainly focusing on how to use ngModel directive in a better way, not for the one-way data binding. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Firstly, what we will do, we will simply go to app.component.ts file. Usually we go in that file only, and there we will declare one variable. Okay, just simple variable. And also I'll tell you the modules that we need to import before using the ngModel directive. So let's go to app.component.ts file. Here you can see we have import section where I will write simply the name of the module that I will be using, that is FormsModule. Okay, once FormsModule is added, now we have to declare the variable, and you can see after adding it here, it is automatically added, right? This line. That means now the FormsModule is added successfully and we can utilize the ngModel directive. Now here in the app component class, we will declare one variable with any name. For example, I want to declare the variable with name username. Okay, so let's write it here, username. This is case sensitive, so make sure to write it in the same case wherever you are using it. And type I would like to assign as a string, so you just simply write here string, then equal, then here we will write Tech Sharmit. Perfect. Okay, so this is the variable which I have declared as a variable in this class app component. Now what we wanted to do, the requirement is that we wanted to show this data in one input field, but that should act as a one-way data binding. Now what other developers are doing, they simply I'll firstly show you the wrong approach and then I'll tell you the solution of it. Okay. Alright, so let's go to app.component.html. Here you can see one heading is already coming, which is Angular directives demo by Tech Sharmit. So after this you can simply add another heading, and in this heading you can write ngModel directive for one-way data binding, and here in this parenthesis I will write not recommended. Okay, so that you can easily relate that this is the thing that we are just learning, but it is not recommended at all. Okay, fine. Now after this, what we are going to do, here we will create one input field. So you just need to write here input field, and here in this input field we will decide the type as text, obviously, and then we will set the username. We will simply bind this thing. So to bind this thing, you can simply use ngModel, which is banana in a box bracket. Then here we will write ngModel, and we will assign this with a username. Perfect. So right now it is a two-way data binding. Why? Because we have not added anything extra. Let me show you. So if you let's add HR here just to add the horizontal line, and here we will print the input values. Okay, So preview of data entered, preview of data, let's make it simple. Okay, and here we will print this value. Maybe we need to add br tag for proper visualization. 2br is enough. Okay, now here I will write p, and in this p we will write username. Perfect. Now save it and let's try to run this application. So ngserve -- open, enter. Wait for few seconds and it will show you the output. So we will verify the output and then we will see like how they are making it one-way data binding. So it is taking time. Okay, now it is open. So here you can see this field is enabled. That means if I write, okay, we added too much spaces, so let's remove this br. Let's make it simple. Okay, yeah, now it looks good. Okay, so here you can see in this input field whatever is written is also displayed here in the stack Sharmit. Why? Because this thing is two-way data binded. Like if I remove something, you can see at the same time it is updating the component variable, which is nothing but a username field. We created it, right? So it is updating it, not here, but you can see the data is updated. And if I write something here, let's say ABC, so it is also updating here. And this is called one way. Now two ways, if I make something here, let's say if I make it Sharmit and save, so you will see, let's save it and refresh it. So you can see the data is two-way data binding. That means if I write something here, let's say XYZ, so automatically it is changed to XYZ. Okay, so currently this is a two-way data binding, but in some cases developers make some trick and make it single-way data binded. Why? Because they don't want to allow user to write anything. So what they simply do, they simply put a disabled keyword here, and after a disable, like you are not able to write anything here. So if you are not able to write anything, you can just see the data, you are not able to update the data. But my question is, then why we are using ngModel directive? We know that ngModel directive is mainly used only for the two-way data binding, right? That is why we are learning the ngModel directive. And if you are not allowing user to write the anything here, then there should not be use of ngModel, correct? Now some of you might be thinking like, then how we can do this thing if we want to make a one-way data binding and we don't want to use ngModel? So in that case, you just need to replace this ngModel with a value and just save it. So now it is working in the similar way. You can see data is whole, data is disabled, it is also showing the data, but it is one-way data binded. Another interesting thing, if I remove it and save it, here you can see if I change something here, it is not updating in the variable. Why? Because this is just a normal value. It is acting as a normal value. This is not a ngModel directive. So I think now the difference is quite clear between the ngModel directive use and value use. So if there is a situation in your project where you just want to show the data, you don't want to allow user to do any modification, then in that case there is no need to use ngModel directive, right? You can simply skip it. But in case if you want to allow user two-way data binding, which we saw earlier, then in that case you can use for sure ngModel. And in case of ngModel, if you change something here, it will automatically reflected in the input fields. And it is vice versa. If you make the changes in input field, it will be displayed in the user data. If you change the data in user data, then it will automatically reflected in the input field. Clear? So this is how it works. So basically in this session what we discussed the wrong approach first, that is using ngModel directive for one-way data binding, which is always not recommended. Sometime in an interview you might be asked with this question, this tricky question, we should use or not. So you can simply say we can use it, but this is not recommended. That means it is allowed, but we are not good developer if you are using it, I would say. Okay, so this is not the best practice. Then they might ask you like what is the alternative, so you can simply say you can use value in order to use it. Clear? So I hope this entire session is clear to all of you. If you still have any questions, queries or suggestion, you can ask in the comment section. So yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.